Welcome to the preview show, where we will be talking about the visit of Arsenal to Selhurst Park this upcoming Saturday. Late kickoff should be fun under the lights. I'm joined by Lou and Stan. Start with you, Stan. Stan, how are you today?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm all right. All right. I want to talk about yesterday. We'll get to that in a bit. But
Oh boy.
Lou, how are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. Went to the game yesterday. Was very hopeful before the game. The vibes were high. Everyone was still riding that wave of the Brighton 3-1, and then Jesus just brought it crashing down, and I stormed out at 3-1 in a tantrum.
Yes, I saw your WhatsApp. Should I go back in the go? Should I go back? You missed the Nketiah goal, didn't you?
Oh, man, it's just that just would have given me more hope.
Yeah, we'll get to the. We actually will get to the Arsenal game in a minute. But please again, remember to like, subscribe. Lou and Dee did a really good breakdown of play ratings of the Arsenal game. So if you want to check that out, that's on YouTube. And this will be, and then we'll be doing a match reaction. Handballs back, people. Handballs back for Saturday. That should be fun. Handballs back, and we'll be doing a play ratings. That'll be me, Lou, or me and Dee, or Dee and Lou. It'll be some combination of us three doing a play rating for the Arsenal game. But I wanted to start, gentlemen, by talking about this supposed takeover. We've done a lot of talk in our group chat today. So before we can get to the preview, let's talk about this possible takeover. I'll just read you the headline and some of the bullet points. So it's a story in the Daily Mail by Sammy Muckbell. Headline: Crystal Palace bidders Sports Bank on the verge of agreeing £230 million deal for American businessman John Textor's 45% stake. It's basically stating that Sports Bank will, in this group led by South London businessman Zachariah Janjua and Navshir Jaffer, allegedly Palace supporters, they put a bid to Textor to buy his shares. And the crux of the story are two things, really. One, it should be done at some point between now and February. But the most important thing is if it's done and if it's approved, we may get funds for January, which we all of us agree it's a very important market. So we'll start with you, Stan. What are your thoughts on this whole takeover thing with Textor, etc.?
Well, I think, like you said, like we spoke a lot about it in our group chat earlier today. It's a bit of a sticky one, really, because they're also reporting that like these guys might actually just be buying into Eagle Football and might not actually be, Textor might keep his stake in Palace, et cetera, et cetera. They're reporting that Textor is, keen to, like, Textor wants Palace. He's wanted Palace from the day he's walked through the door, right? There's no two ways about it. I think it's a sticky, like I said, it's a sticky one because, as you know, obviously, I've been a big and outspoken critic of our board, and how the clubs run and whatever. And you can see from John Textor that he does want to, like, he is ambitious. He wants to spend money, etc., etc. But also, he potentially has a habit of running out of money. He potentially has a habit of being reckless. But his clubs do win trophies. They do compete in European competitions. But my worry is that if it's the other side of it where they just buy into Eagle Football Holdings and he stays on and he tries to acquire the club, that Palace's assets are going to get stripped. He's going to start selling things off to fund his football empire, etc., etc. So I'm not going to panic just yet. I think we do need some fresh impetus, some fresh ownership, etc., etc. I think we just got to wait and see what happens with regards to it, to be honest with you.
Lou, what do you think? What are your thoughts on this?
I find it quite hard to talk on these subjects. I'm kind of the type of person that I'd need knowledge on something to have a strong opinion on a situation, and financials are not my forte. I think Tim would probably be the best person to break this down. My main focus is what happens when I turn up on a Saturday or a Tuesday night. And there has been a lot of stuff with the recruitment. Maybe we've been held back by that, but yeah, I just find it a bit, I don't really know. I'm a bit clueless on what's going on. Just give me 2 new fullbacks and a forward, and then we can.
That's it.
Fair enough. My feelings are basically just let's get it over with. Whatever's going to happen. Whether Texas sells or doesn't sell, it needs to be over because we need to move forward. As we've spoken about plenty of times, we've been stuck, pretty much in treading water for the last 6-7 years. We haven't pushed forward. We've seen other teams, our rivals, for instance, that we beat on Sunday, move forward, and teams like Bournemouth go forward, even Fulham. Things that I'm not talking about. I'm never going to compare us to Arsenal of the world or Tottenham, but like a Bournemouth, a Brentford, a Brighton, we should be level pegging. We're not right now, and that's what bothers me. So I just want it to be over. I got no problem with Texter. I've been an outspoken. I've liked what he did because I follow his other clubs, and Lyon were doing really poorly last year and made the Europa League, and Botafogo just won the Copa de Libertadores and the bloody Brasileiro League, won the double in his second full year running the team. I mean, yes, there are negatives to him, obviously the financial part, but I just want to win. I don't care. I'm not going on a high horse saying about the owners. I'm not into that anymore. I used to be that way. I'm not going to lie to you. I used to be that way. Now I just want my team to win. I'm sorry. I've been a pad for way too long, and it's been it's just not enough winning for me. So just get it over with. So we'll see what happens. Let's move on to the preview. But before we get into that, actually, let's talk a little bit about yesterday's game as of the recording. Let's talk about the League Cup game versus Arsenal. I really liked your play ratings, Lou. You and D talking about the game. I actually thought that we could have done better, and I really like what Glasner said after the game. You mentioned that we weren't brave enough, and I think that's something I want to talk about now. I just think that I took a look at some of the stats. Now, bravery can mean a lot of things to me. Obviously, the way that you try and play, possession, balls into the final third, that kind of thing. But keeping it very simple, I want to just talk about possession and accuracy stats, because yesterday against Arsenal, 30% possession, accuracy was 66%. To me, if you want to win a game of football, even a game against Arsenal, you have to have a better accuracy passing as a team than that 66%. It's just not good enough. And again, that's basic stuff about bravery. But I want to get your thoughts, Lou. What were your overriding thought about yesterday's game as far as the way we played, or if we did anything better or differently? What are your thoughts on that game yesterday?
Yeah, I think we spoke about it in a preview, and it comes under the same type of game as the Man City game. Every single player has to be at 100%, whether it's fitness, whether it's just their performance. And yesterday, I think maybe we're going 1-0 up so early made us sit back a little bit more than we should have. And in terms of bravery, that to me, there's two types of bravery in that game: when to press Arsenal, and when we've got the ball, are you comfortable on the ball? Can you receive it with someone on your back? Can you receive it when someone's behind you? Are you just going to lump it? Are you going to trust your players? And there was that moment in the first half, I mentioned it in the ratings, when Mitchell made a mistake, and then 2 minutes later, Gueye has the ball. Mitchell is tucked in. He should be wide. He plays the ball, it just rolls out. That was the moment where I thought, okay, we look a bit rattled today. And I think there was only one time where we played out from the back when Kapora went running down, and then he ended up giving away a foul.
Yeah.
It was the only time we got out. And that's bravery, playing out without the fear of making a mistake. I think that also comes with us being fit. I feel like we were fatigued, playing the same team over and over again. I just think it was one of those days. They were brave in the sense of they didn't back down from the challenge and the physical side, right. But the side of pressing Arsenal higher and keeping the ball and trusting each other wasn't there. And it's maybe a little bit of a reality check after the 1 loss in 9. It'll be an even tougher task Saturday, especially after the confidence being knocked a bit on Wednesday. But it's up to Glasner to get him up for it.
Yeah, I agree. Stan, I want to pivot to the offside goal, because now that we've all got to see it again, clearly that Jesus goal, the second goal, right? 2-1 goal,
Yeah.
shouldn't have stood, and there's no VAR in Carabao Cup for some reason. What are your thoughts on? I want to talk 2 things. What are your thoughts on that goal? And what are your thoughts on Jesus' performance in general yesterday?
The thoughts on that goal are that it shouldn't have stood, but I thought the ref was the ref didn't lose us the game. Let's just get that out there first. But the ref was shocking, and he gave us nothing. Like, you know, he was their 12th man for sure. Shouldn't have stood, but you know what? You know, there's multiple things. I mean, you know, you look at the other side for one of the goals, Chalobah commits far too early. He's got to do better. You know, he should have just stayed on his feet. He could have ran Jesus a little bit more wide or something like that. You know, we'll see. Jesus' performance, my God. I think if you've got Jesus banging hat-tricks against you, then you know that you're not playing to the top of your game. Don't get me wrong. I'm not disrespecting him. He's a good player. He's won the Premier League before. He's played for some top clubs, but he's never really hit any heights with Arsenal. And yesterday he went and banged a hat-trick. So, yeah, that's... Yeah.
I think as a striker, goals breed confidence. The first goal was I know, was it the dink was the first goal, wasn't it?
Yeah,
correct. Dink, yeah.
Chalobah overcommits, but a striker like Jesus, if you produce that finish, all of a sudden it starts flowing back. So as much as he hasn't hit the heights of Arsenal, even though I did feel he was really good in his first season, he just got a few injuries. He's a quality player, and form is temporary, I think.
Lou, you know what? He's not a bad player. Like, he is a quality player. He's played for some big clubs, but I don't think you'll ever see that type of performance from him again this season. Maybe on Saturday against us, but I doubt it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that. I understand, but there's not all. Some players are not great and they score hat-tricks. It's just how it is sometimes.
But when you're getting fed those sorts of balls and you're running the lines and you're getting the space, it wasn't Jesus. Like, I thought it was Odegaard coming on second half that won the game.
Yeah.
Because he just...
As I mentioned in the ratings, they done well with their tactics. They put all three players, they put players on all three centre-backs, and they dragged us out of positions that we didn't want to be in.
Yeah.
He was having to come. Do you see how far he was coming out to track Sterling and Odegaard, and that was leaving big holes, and then Chalobah was getting pulled this way and that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, disruption from our right wing back. So Arsenal are a good team, and Odegaard and Saka, like, they're very, very good players.
Yeah. I think it was what's it called? It was I think it was how can you say it? It was a step too far for our team, I think, to be honest with you.
You know, I remember specifically saying we were talking about form of teams, and we were talking about Palace had been whatever, 1 loss in 9, and I made a point in the previous show. Also, not lost the game in 8, and then D came out and said, you know, yeah, some were draws. But I said to myself, the issue is we're not at the caliber of Arsenal. An 8-game undefeated streak for them may be poor, but if we had that kind of a streak, we'd be in heaven. And my issue, or my thought was, you know, what happens if, and what happened in that game. So I want to talk about their starting lineup for that game, because Lou makes a great point. I think we're at the point now where certain players, our back three in particular, might be getting a little bit tired. Hughes, because they played a lot of games in a row. Mitchell played a lot of games in a row. But let's look at yesterday's lineup for Arsenal, because the starting lineup, because I would say that first half, and that's what Glass actually mentioned, the bravery had to come in that first half. Because in that first half, you're playing against the likes of Timber and Kiwior at centre half, and you know that Timber, he can play that, but he's a right back by trade. Kiwior hasn't played a lot this season. 4 minutes in, long ball from Henderson, Mateta gets on Kiwior, just bullies him, knocks the ball past him, takes a couple of touches, hits the ball by Raya, great goal. The point is, obviously, that centre half pairing is not the regular pairing. Yeah, Tierney at left back hasn't played pretty much all season. You had Partey right back, who's a centre midfielder. You had Jorginho, Nwaneri, who's a kid, and Marino midfield. You had Sterling, Jesus, and Trossard as their front three. Chances are we're not going to see that team on. Not chances are we're not going to see that team on Saturday. You're going to see Odegaard, Saka,
Rice,
Gabriel, Rice. I'm missing Saliba, all starting, you know. So here's the question. Based on the fact that they'll all be back, what can we do differently? I'll start with you, Lou. What can we do differently? Because it's not going to be like that first half. We're going to be 90 minutes of that instead of 45 minutes of what happened second half. What do you think we can do differently?
Fresh legs. we need fresh legs. I know everyone in that team has earned their place, but I know Glasner, I said it in the ratings, he likes to look at the next game, he wants to win every game. But you've got to look at that Bournemouth and that Southampton game as a chance to get 4 to 6 points, and also use the players who haven't played as much, integrate them more, get them more minutes in their legs. I would ring the changes, 4 or 5 maybe, but also I'm not the one. Again, you go back to the medical team. Hughes looked like he was. If there was a purple zone after the red zone, he looked like he was in there, or the black zone. Like he looks dead on his. I don't even know how he ran so fast off the pitch when he got subbed. Lerma he ran his socks off yesterday. Our players are tired. They are really tired. The only thing I think that could help is fresh legs. They're going to be even more dangerous from set pieces because they didn't have their main players. Like the Saliba and the Gabriels, they're the most dangerous from the set pieces. I think we've done really well to how we defended them. I don't know if we can handle them on Saturday if we drop a few of our players who are better in the air. So if Mateta's not there and Lerma's not there or Sarr's dropped, all of a sudden they look much more towering from their set pieces.
Do you know what? I want to get to that real quick. In the post match, that was one of the questions that came up. How did you defend those so well? And Glasner said, I'm not going to tell you now. I'll tell you after the game on Saturday. But what I did notice, which I like, and I'll ask you to understand, we kept 2 to 3 players outside of the box.
Smallest ones as well.
The smallest ones, like it was like Kapora at one point. I guess Mitch.
Eze. And Sarr for the pace. Mm-hmm.
So, and that's a massive weapon for Arsenal. So on Saturday, Stan, do you think we go with a similar tactic as far as on corner kicks, or we do something different?
No, 100%. I think you need to, because I think if you have height on height, then it's obviously going to be harder for them to, to take advantage of it. I will say that the deliveries from those set pieces are like, wow. The deliveries are bang on, and even height on height might not help, but you're doing the best you can to mitigate that, right? So I would definitely stick with that tactic for sure.
A quick thing, I feel like all Premier League players should be able to deliver these type of crosses, but I do think there's something to do with how big the Emirates pitch is, how much of a run up you can get onto those corners. Okay. So have you ever seen a Palace opposition player take a corner at Palace? Mate, they got about 1 or 2 steps before they're hitting the advertising boards. Yeah. Whereas at the Emirates, they can get a nice 3 or 4 steps for that whip in. I know it might be a little thing, but I always thought that I've seen Hughes take corners at Palace, and it's like his back legs in the stand.
That's why we've been so bad at set pieces all these years.
But you know what? I got to give credit for Glasner. We've actually been a lot better. I remember that first game, Burnley. Was it not Burnley?
His first game was Burnley.
Yeah, it was Burnley. Yeah, when we actually, I think, was that Richard's goal? Was that the goal?
That was from the recycled. Yeah, it wasn't straight.
Right, I'm just saying, we did. That's the first time I've seen us take a short corner in like 8 years.
Yeah,
that was good. Stan, I want to just continue what Lou's thought about the lineup, and I agree. We have to freshen up. Kind of be specific. What change would you make for Saturday? Because again, we're talking about players who have played now 6, 7, 8 games in a row, basically. That we can make. That makes sense. I mean, things that we can't do, obviously. So what do you think we can do?
I'd probably give Will Hughes a rest because I think we've got Decore on the bench who can come in, and he's a very good player. And you got to think like they played, like you said, 7 or 8 games in a row. You got Christmas coming now, so you got a game Boxing Day, then you got another game middle of that week, that weekend, sorry, and then you've got a game beginning of January, and then you got another game. And then it's the FA Cup versus Stockport. So, you've got 4 or 5 games coming right up as well. So, you've got to rotate. I think I will park the Eze conversation because I think we're probably going to touch on that probably in a few minutes as well because I got my thoughts on that. I think, and this isn't through form, but no, I wouldn't do it actually because you lose so much presence and height if you give JP any sort of rest. And he's been on form. He scored the other day. I think I would keep him in. But I do worry that he's played that he might get injured, So that's a thought. I would definitely start Klein at right wing back, because I think, you know, Caleb, you know, he did himself and he did us proud, but like you could see that that was a tricky game to put him in, right? So I would definitely put him in.
I think he could go to maybe a more rigid 5-4-1. And he might do maybe out of possession and camping a bit more, maybe playing Ketia. I don't know. Like we said, we don't know the fitness of the players. I think that's the most important. Whoever's fitter, they do 60, the other person does 30. That's probably the most likely scenario. But they all look like they need a week's rest.
Yeah, I agree. As far as lineup, I agree with using the experience. I would keep Klein over Kapoor. I wouldn't have a problem with Kapoor playing Southampton and or Stockport. I won't put him in the game for this week. Even though I'm not sure I want to spoil the prediction. I don't think we can get a chance. I don't think we can win this game, but who knows? Midfield, I agree. Give Hughes a rest, especially if the Corey again, medical staff, manager, if the Corey's ready. I want to talk to Lou about are forward options. Well, the one forward. Would you rest Nketiah? Would you rest Mateta, put Nketiah in? I would not for this match. I'd actually rest him for Bournemouth, and I would Nketiah start for Bournemouth. It's only a few days later. But what about the back three? You've got Guéhi, Lacroix, and Chalobah. You now have a fit Richards, and Riyad should be ready the next couple of weeks. Would you put Richards in? I'm going to say it for Chalobah on Saturday, Lou.
Well, I don't. It could happen. Does it really change much? I don't know. I think this is one of the first games in a while that I'm on zero confidence from anything from this game. I've kind of come to terms with a damage limitation. 1-0, 2-0, move on. Avoid any. If we lose 1-0, 2-0, and there's no fresh injuries, I'd probably take that right now, which is not great, but it's just where we are as a squad right now.
Look,
go ahead, Stan.
You know what? I get where you're coming from, but no top team has really battered us. They haven't.
That's why I said 1-0, 2-0.
But you know, and we got a point off of Chelsea. I know it was early in the season, but we did. We've got point off of City. So I'm not saying we're going to beat them and we're going to do this.
Yeah, I know.
That. But I think. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be as bad as you think.
No, it's just in the fact. I feel like Glasner. We always play better when Glasner has one whole week with the squad, where they play on a Saturday and then they come in on a Sunday. They review the game, and then they have a good. He always talks about we've had a really intense week of training, no fresh injuries. That's when I feel like Palace are at their best, when he can integrate all his tactics, all the patterns of play. Sometimes the turnovers too quickly, and and Arsenal, they're going to play a fresh team. They've got a better team and a fresher team. So it's going to be so difficult. Maybe I'm being a bit pessimistic over the result. I think that goes hand in hand with being a Palace fan as well. But yeah, I'm just not confident for the game. Do I think if anyone could do it, Glasner could do it? Yeah. But it's just my feeling for the game.
Yeah, I think my biggest fear is that. I think it's the shortness of the games between this game and the Saturday game, and also they need to freshen up. We have to freshen up somehow. You can't come out. You can't play. Even if you even play Kapoor, you can't play the same 11 against them. It's not going to work. You're right. You have a Saka played 45. Odegaard played 45. Rice didn't even play. Saliba and Gabriel played minimally.
Saliba played 45. Gabriel played 10.
So I'm saying, right, exactly. You've got to freshen up somehow.
Martinelli didn't play.
Martinelli didn't play, which actually might have worked out for them.
Havertz didn't play.
Saka got like 10 minutes or something ridiculous, so he's going to be.
We've got 20 minutes.
He's like one of the best players in the world.
Yeah.
So let's move on to, you wanted to bring it up, Stan. Let's talk about the Eze issue. But before we go into that, I actually thought, and I'm very happy with that, I think that Kamada and Nketiah played really well the last two matches.
Yeah.
Obviously, Nketiah scoring a goal is a big part, but I thought Kamada has played really well. Definitely, you can see it again. The reason I think they're both playing better is that it's a confidence issue for both, for sure. But Kamada playing as that left-sided 10 as opposed to going in as a midfielder has helped him. And Nketiah's played the last two games as a sub as a striker, and clearly he's better as a striker. So what would you do? I don't want to have the Eze discussion, but you can, Stan. What would you do with Eze, Kamada / Nketiah?
Okay. So Eze, his form has been patchy at best, I would say. He's had an injury. He's obviously scored a great goal at Chelsea, but apart from that, he's not been himself, right? He is a quality player. But this is what I'm seeing at the moment, is that he is not being that guy. You know, that guy that, that like a Wilf was, or an Elise was, or, other players like down the years that we've had were like, give me the ball. Just give me the ball and I'll do something with it. At this moment in time, the way I see it, he's going up the pitch and then all of a sudden he stops, right? So, I don't know, man. Like, something's going on there. He is not playing to his full potential. Now, some people are saying he's looking like he doesn't want to be here. Some people are saying that his form's not great, that he hasn't got the players around him. I don't know. But there is something there that is not right. Now, swapping Eze for Daichi Kamada, I mean, that's as much as Kamada's had 2 good cameos when he's come on, that's a serious drop down in personnel, right? So, or for Devaney as well, against a team like Arsenal, I think you still got to play your best players. So, yeah, I think we should keep Eze in the team, personally.
Before Lou jumps in, I know he wants to jump in. I know he's a big Eze fan. Stan, do you think the drop of performance is the way that we play? Because I think that when we are playing, let's say, for example, we play so direct that he's going like this every game. Watching the ball going over his head all the time. We're not playing through Eze at all. So I have a bit of an issue with he hasn't played well because he's not involved in the game. If he wasn't creating any chances and he was getting the ball a lot, I would say, I think you guys talked about it, right? Lou and the ratings, he didn't touch the ball that much. What, 30-something touches yesterday?
Yeah,
right?
Wasn't involved.
Well, go ahead, Lou. What were your thoughts on the Eze situation?
Yeah, with Eze, remember when I spoke about Matoma, about players, there's a lot of data analysis. There's other teams look at other teams pre-match, and they will dissect every single player, every single route to goal, how they play. If you're an opposition manager or management team, who's the first player you're going to look at Palace? It's going to be Eze. How do we stop Eze? It's going to be, we're going to shut off his passing lanes. When he gets the ball, we're going to have 2 or 3 people on him. That's the first thing.
Is that what happens?
The worst thing. And Eze has never been Wilf or Elise. He's never been that person. He doesn't drag games by the scruff of his neck. He is in bad form. I'm not gonna lie about that. So I feel like the biggest thing here with him right now is his decision making. And I said it in the player ratings. Who even let him try and take a shot from 35 yards from that free kick when we was 1-0 up? Is if I'm the captain, I am the first thing I'm saying is you are not shooting. That ball's going in the box. So, but he, like I said, it's the same sort of scenario when he's holding onto the ball too long. He generally thinks, do you know what? This might be the time. I might actually smash this into the corner. But every single Palace fan watching and in that ground knew that ball wasn't going to go anywhere near the goal. Even when he was lining up, I was like, well, he isn't really actually going to try and shoot from here, is he? I think Kamada's last 2 appearances has earned him the right to start. And I think, and this will be another game which will hurt his confidence again, because he's playing against a top midfield. He's going to be playing against Rice. He's going to be playing against all these massive, tall, physical midfielders.
Partey,
Partey.
Kamada's lightweight, and Eze at the moment is pedestrian. Like, that's what I would say about him. His decision making is pedestrian.
Yeah, but Eze is I don't see Eze as much more physical than Kamada at the moment. Kamada's maybe the way he, like I said in the ratings, his diving in is probably the weakest thing he does when he's defending. Mm-hmm. So his decision making, when to like overly press, that's why he gets spun so many times. Mm-hmm. But I think the last 2 performances has earned him the chance to play. And if you're gonna rotate, you have to rotate the squad. I'd rather a fresh Eze or Eze playing for 20 minutes, 30 minutes on Saturday than another 60, 70 minute lethargic performance. Knocks his confidence even more going into Bournemouth. I think it's time to bring the changes, and he's one of them I'd make.
Yeah, I'm of that mindset too. We've got Bournemouth on Boxing Day, and 3 days later we have Southampton. Bournemouth are going to be very tough. They're a good side. You don't disrespect them, but we have a better chance of getting points to me from them than we do against Arsenal. So for me, if we can get a point off of Bournemouth and 3 against Southampton with a fresh Eze, I'm all for that. And even a fresh Mateta, I might rest both of us. I was mentioning that part about Kamada and Nketiah. I don't think there's a better time now to start them than any other time, because again, their confidence is a little bit up. And then again, you mentioned, I think that both Mateta and as they carry knocks, because they was mentioned by the manager before. Mm-hmm. So why push it? I understand pushing it for the quarterfinal because you want to get through. It's a one-off, but for a league game that, yeah, we could get a point out of, but we're going to get into it in a minute with the historical data on playing Arsenal. We don't do well against Arsenal historically. We just do not. So I'd be up for it. But Stan, your final thoughts on either the line, on Eze lineup, etc.
Now I've heard your guys' point of view. I think you're right. Bournemouth coming up, Southampton coming up, Chelsea as well, who are just going to be a really tough game. Yeah, I think put him on the bench, bring him on for 25-30, see what happens. Maybe if the game's as far gone as it may be by then, don't bring him on at all, give him a rest, right? And, play Kamada. Yeah, that's what I would say. I would think just, Eze and Nketiah for Mateta is a different one, because like Mateta is a unit. Like he's big, and we need him we need his physical presence for those set pieces as well. Yeah. But we also have to think about what's coming up, and we are going to need him for Bournemouth and Southampton. So maybe he needs a rest as well. Let's see.
I think he might have taken off because Sarr's played 90 and 90 now, hasn't he? Sarr
he has not been.
So I think Mateta coming off, it might be Mateta and Nketiah, and then bring on Sarr with his pace last 20-30.
Yeah,
because he's the last. Like if we're being honest, if the game's still in the balance, we're 1-0 down or it's still 0-0, 1-1 with half an hour to go, the last person Arsenal want to see coming on is Sarr. But like we said, we don't know who's the fittest, who's raring to go. They'll probably go through tests all today and tomorrow and see who can get through training.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens. As I've always said, and Luke agrees with me, I'll respect and have no problem what the Glazer decides to do. Whatever he decides to do as far as lineup, I'm good with it. He knows the data better than I do. He knows his players better than I do. He's a great motivator. He's a good tactical manager. I'm good with him. So before we go into predictions, go ahead. Anything you want to say before I go into predictions?
Did you watch his post match, the whole thing?
I did.
It's just I was frustrated about the game. I watched his post match this morning, and it made me feel so much better about it. Just the way he's so honest. It's not just babbling. It's a technical breakdown of what happened. It's not just, he's not over emotional. He gets it. He gets football in general. He gets man management.
Did you, just going on to him, did you see there was a interview, Sky Sports interviewed him at the training ground recently?
Yeah, I saw that too.
It's on YouTube.
Excellent.
Just like, what a guy, man. Like, just like, the guy lives and breathes football. He lives and breathes Palace. We like you said at the start of the show, need to make sure that he's kept happy with players. That's the number one, because
that's the most important person at this club right now is Oliver Glasner.
He is
100%.
He's elite, man. He's an elite.
I would go out of my way, previous managers, not to watch a pre-match or post-match, because they would wind me up. Out of my way, not. But the person I really like, I used to like Holloway, because Holloway, to me, even though he didn't work that way, I love Ian Holloway as a personality, and he give you a really long answer to any question. Pulis was boring. Allardyce was kind of boring. Warnock was, again, no personality, but didn't really say much tactically, so I didn't really care.
Pardew was
full of himself. Pardew was just a massive. I like Pardew as a player, as a manager. Exactly, all about himself. I'm not going to mention the last manager because everybody knows about him. I just couldn't listen. He would wind me up with his comments because his whole, anyway. So, but no, Glasner is again.
Yeah, especially with the press.
Best time.
The press conferences every Friday, 1:30. I'm there, and then even the 10:30 p.m. I wait to see the extended ones.
Me too.
I read every article. You hang off every word he says, and he honestly, the biggest threat to relegation is him going.
I think the biggest threat to non-progression in general is
I'm not worried about. Yeah, I think that's it. I think I'm with you, Stan. The non-progression I'm worried about. I'm not worried about relegation. I mean, I know it could happen because we're Palace, but I think that I want to.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, going backwards.
Yeah.
If you went.
So very quickly, some stats on our historical poor record against Arsenal. We have played them 48 times in the league, and that would be obviously Premier League, First Division. It wouldn't be any lower than that because they've never been below. It's only either the old First Division or the new Premier League. Palace have 5 wins, 14 draws, 29 losses. The last 4 games, I'm only going to go back last 4 because for a reason. So we lost 2-0 in 22 at home, 4-1 away, lost 1-0 at home last year, 5-0. Prior to that, we did beat them in 2021-22, 3-0. I'll ask you both. Remember that game? Scorers?
What? Sorry,
Zaha.
The last 3-0 win.
Zaha.
Mateta Ayew.
Yes, that was it. Zaha, Mateta Ayew, was it?
Yeah, as Anderson played that ball through to Ayew.
Yes.
The ball to Ayew was a brilliant ball. You are correct. Yeah, nice job. So, our history is not great. The only thing I'll say is the one positive. It's not a Palace Arsenal stat, but it's a Palace playing the same team twice in a week stat. Remember last year, lost to Man United in the League Cup, beat them on the weekend. I'm praying for that. I'm praying for that to happen again. So, Lou, your prediction for Saturday? You'll beat the game, right?
No, I'm not actually going this week.
Oh, okay.
I'm a bit all Palaced out. I want to spend some time with the family.
Good for you.
Yeah, the emotional roller coaster of Brighton being the high and then the low of Arsenal, and I think I'm gonna give Saturday a miss.
Before you go on, you know what? Normally that would have hurt me, but I'm still on the Brighton high. I've actually kind of wiped the game yesterday out. I'm going to keep that. That Brighton high. That Brighton high is important.
Yeah. I'm not gonna. I might have to go back and look at some more highlights just to make.
Yeah, exactly. I'm watching that game again tonight. Trust me, I'm watching that game again tonight.
I'm going to go with 3-1 Arsenal.
Stan?
I have to back my team. I'm going to go 1-1.
I wish I could back my team, and I hope we get a result. But the mere thought of Odegaard and Saka for 90 minutes, and then you throw Havertz or Jesus in front of them, scares the living, out of me. Yeah. I'm hoping that the crowd gets behind them and we have a great performance. And I would love to get a draw, but I'm gonna go conservatively 2-1 Arsenal, and hope that I'm really wrong. I'd love to be wrong, very wrong. Well, that's it for us today. I want to thank Lou and Stan for jumping on. Again, please make sure to check out the live match reaction on Saturday with Hambo. I think he's doing a special opposition preview with Arsenal. I'm not really sure. Nobody does one for this game. Yeah. I hope I didn't forget to turn on that. But there'll definitely be a player ratings after the game. Remember to like and subscribe. We're on the road to 6,000. So if you can please tell your friends to like the stream, subscribe. Go ahead. Anything else you want to say?
There's a Bournemouth preview on Sunday as well.
And, that's right.
And I'm on one of the Bournemouth podcasts. I can't remember the name of it. That's coming out on Sunday. I don't know what position one.
The back of the net one or no? Not the back of the net?
I'm not 100% sure. I've done it earlier today.
Check that out.
I will put a link in the description on the Bournemouth preview.
Perfect. There you go. Cool. Again, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you guys soon, and up the Palace.
Up the Palace.